What is going on, booties? How is everybody doing tonight? I already have an echo. It's driving me fucking batty. Talk amongst yourselves in the chat. All the time we put into setting this up, and right out of the gate.
Right?
All right. You know what? I think we're good now. Still got an echo or no?
Nope, we're good.
Well, I got it, but we're gonna fly. And hey, thanks for joining us. It's a beautiful day here in Tampa, Florida. It's a hot day in Tampa, Florida. I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
Things are gonna start coming off. Probably starting with this fucking apron. Before we even get started, happy birthday, Jen. I hope you're having a great day. And what better way to spend it than cooking here with us? And we're going to get started right away because we got a lot to do. We got a lot of cameras up. Patrick, what's going on, buddy? How you been, man?
I am doing great. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Dude, I feel like I haven't seen you in at least 3
hours.
4 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we got our boys Wicked playing in the background. Just so you know, this was not a full bottle before we started. That's how it came out here.
Sure it wasn't.
All right, so wait, tonight it's all about getting dirty. And we're going to start right away. Let's put this right here. This is our espresso rub. This is our number one seller, Voodoo Dirt. It is what put us on the map, and it's what's keeping us going. And, you know, we held on this for 5 months, even though people were saying, when are you doing dirt? When are you doing dirt? When are you doing dirt? We're doing dirt tonight. And we're actually going to create the dish that I wrote dirt for. So we got some New York strip steaks, and we're just going to push forward. I'll tell the story as we go. But while we're doing this, we got to make sure we season these right away. So if you got a shaker lid, you're fine. If not, pour it into a container and 12-inch even spread, okay? We're going to just get a nice little coat on here like salt and pepper. And you want to make sure and just pat it on so it sticks. No binder, no nothing. We're just going to season both sides, okay? Flip your strips over. These strips are about 8 ounces. I say about because we bought what the market had, and that's okay. If we were cutting our own, we'd cut them to the 8-ounce mark. But we're cooking at home. And Jen, you season them at home, that's perfectly okay because that's what we're looking for. We want to get these seasons. The salt inside that dirt is going to have a nice little reaction with the meat. We won't get into the scientific process of whatever it is. I think Jen's probably going to type in that chat mark osmosis or some shit here soon. But what's going to happen is as the salt is working on drawing that moisture out, it's also taking the flavors of the seasoning into the meat. We've got the espresso in there. It's going to act as a little tenderizer, and it's going to give a little smoky flavor to this. While this is sitting, we got to make a cocktail. So take your steaks, just set them aside for a minute. Tonight, man, we got Wicked's brand new album playing in the background. So, we've been given access to the new album, not even out there. So, I hope you enjoy it in the background tonight. Don't tell them we played it. Don't. I sent them a message today asking if I could, and they never replied. I took it as a yes. All right, so I have a 3-pound boat here, 5-pound boat here. And what I'm going to do with this, we're getting ready for our cocktail. I'm going to take some dirt, and I'm just going to create a nice little mound, if you will. And I'm going to rim my glass. So in order to get the dirt to stick, we have to get some sort of liquid on here. And if you know me, you should have known it's going to be a lime. So I'm just going to rub my glass with a lime and then coat it with that dirt. This is called rimming the glass, and that's what I get.
Sorry.
Is it going good?
There we go.
All right, so that's the rim. We're going to take this and we're going to fill it up with some ice. Now, because they did just release the schedule, we brought out our heavy-duty ice transfer glass, courtesy of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm going to get this filled to the brim with ice. And if I hadn't said, what we're making tonight is an espresso old-fashioned. So we're going to take the classic cocktail and we're going to add another one of the food groups. We're going to add some caffeine to it. If you have shakers, great. If not, use another glass. Use your trusty dusty spoon and bate, okay? Real simple. And make sure you measure your pours. Right. Patrick, I think something's wrong with my camera. Can you turn it off and back on for a minute? The main one? Take me out and put me back in. Make sure it's... No, take it out.
I'm going.
Yeah, I think something's wrong. I don't think it's clear enough.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my screen.
I think it's your screen.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, fuck it.
I'm positive.
Oh, man. All right. 2 ounces, yeah? You know, if you're making it at home, you know, you could use a 2-ounce jigger. You could use, we do have the pours, and you really shouldn't be drinking Woodford like that. You should be savoring that Woodford. All right. So now we're going to add a little bit of our cacao. Okay, this is, I asked what the best brand was, and the liquor store is at said Boston. And I said, do you have any other brand? He goes, no. And I go, perfect, I'll take that one. All right, so we're just going to add just a little bit of this here. And this stuff here, oh my God, creamy, chocolatey, super duper yummy. Only the best espresso, right? About 1.5 ounces. Now, the recipe calls for simple syrup. And simple syrup, you all know, equal ratio sugar, water. Cook it until you form that, watch this, Jen, 2 days in a row, 2 lines in a row, that super saturated solution that will maintain its consistency because of the way we cook it. But what we're going to use tonight, instead of the simple syrup, we're going to use the liquid from my Luxardo cherries. And if you haven't had Luxardo cherries, oh man, you are missing out. Oh man, one of my favorite songs off the new album, "Lost in the Dark," just absolutely amazing. All right, so we shortcutted the simple syrup. We used the cherry juice, but now we're going to get to the bitters. And if you remember, we talked about the Angostura bitters. Angostura bitters talks about where it came from, not necessarily the plant, but the aromatics from the plant. And if you get anything other than the Angostura bitters with the big oversized label, it's not really Angostura bitters made from the aromatics. They're putting wood in there so that they can call it Angostura rather than the originator. We're going to use my spiced cherry bitters, hence the reason why I used my Luxardo cherries. And we're just going to add a couple drops of this. And now for the super duper part here. I need my big ice shaker. We're going to get this full of ice so that it's nice and cold. And what's also going to happen here, guys, is that ice is going to start to melt down a little bit and just kind of blend this out and smooth it out. Kind of like when we pour that whiskey over the jumbo ice cube. And again, we shake until we get that frosty froth on the outside of these glasses. I'm telling you, dude. Patrick, you need to be like right there, dude. Because all we need for this is a straw. Look at that frothiness inside there from that agitation and that espresso. And we're just going to pour this up. Look at that. All right, if that's not enough, right? This already, with the cherry instead of the simple syrup, it almost smells like a coffee chocolate cordial. We're going to go ahead and garnish with the cherries, adding just more syrup to that. And then, like the classic old fashioned, with the peel down, we just want to squeeze this in here and let that essential oil come out. And then we're going to just slide this right down in our cocktail. And that's what we call a dirty espresso martini right there. And I got to tell you, I'm going to take a picture of all of you with this because this right here, this is like amazingness right here. Look at that. They say the first picture goes to Insta, right?
Of course.
Always. And if you're taking it at home, I expect you're doing the same thing. Who can tell me why I didn't put the Woodford bottle in there? Anybody? Anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Patrick? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous right now.
Dude. Dude, you really are.
This unsweet tea is not really cutting it.
Patrick, don't tell anybody that we ate like 10 oranges the other day. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, we did.
We really did though. It was gross. This right here, this taste, it's not like this is the first time we made this, but it's like every time is the first time. This tastes just like straight up espresso, and the whiskey and the bourbon and the cacao, everything is the undertone, and you know what that means.
Well, I'm well aware.
Everybody thinks I'm nuts because I drink Venti 3 raw sugar lattes, and when they get empty, I refill them with Jack Daniels. Gotta tell you, Nick Nack, I think this might be our new cocktail. That's like money.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to try that. I'm a big fan of old fashioned, so
We might have to serve this at signature dinner. All right, I'm gonna tell you the truth though. If I keep drinking that, I'm not gonna be able to cook because I am gonna keep drinking this. All right, let me do a quick little wipey wipe. If you have any questions, let us know. Let us know where you're checking in from. Let you know what you're drinking. Let us know what you're drinking. And again, we're listening to Wicked in the background. And this is their brand new album. So you're getting to hear it here before anyone else. All right. Take a look at those steaks. You can see them getting a nice moist outer exterior. That's from that salt and that osmosis taking place. God, I hate you, Jen. So as that salt is doing its magic, we have the moisture coming to the outside, the flavors going to the inside, and we're going to fire this up in just about 2 seconds. So, Jen, if you're cooking tonight, I need to know where you're at so that I don't go too fast. I almost should just throw this away right now.
I mean, it's a pretty small bottle. I didn't know they made them that small. Is that travel size?
This is the pocket size.
I was gonna say. I mean, I think that might fit in my back pocket of my jeans.
This is called the non-podcast night.
I don't know. Where's my money on them that small?
If Darren was watching right now, he'd be like, "Dude, I can't believe you're drinking that like that." All right, so hey, we are sitting here talking with our Patreons and our booties. I did want to let you know, great news today. I worked on Bash for quite a while. Patrick and I did some work today too. We did confirm Jack Daniels officially for Voodoo Bash this afternoon. We also confirmed Tito's. Over the past week, if you haven't been watching Facebook, we've confirmed Hume Music will play Friday night and Saturday. We're going to have a blast from the past, a blast from 1986. I'm going to reunite with my very first band from 1996, and we're going to play a 45-minute set. I'd say come out because the music's going to be great, but what I really need to tell you is come out because who knows what the fuck is going to happen. God knows. And then this camera's bothering me. Maybe it's this one. Which one's getting this?
I can remove it if you want for now and put it back in.
Is it this one? Yeah, no, it's this one. There we go. Let's just look at the stakes. That's not good. There we go. So we're going to play a 45-minute set, and then Scream Machine's going to close out the night. But, Patrick, I'm going to sit here and pretend to name all the restaurants. I know I'll miss somebody. I know you can pull up that list. If you can just let people know who's going to be at Voodoo Bash cooking, because we want these guys to know first.
Absolutely.
While he's looking that up, just so you know, the weather's coming. It's coming from your way, Nick Nack. So when you get rain, please let me know.
It's going the other way, actually. It's heading out toward Orlando. I'm looking at it from my front window here. It's going away from my house, so it's actually will be coming the other way. It's coming from the Gulf.
Okay, because I'm feeling the wind from your direction. But
yeah, no, I just watched a giant storm go away from me, which is good.
That's a good thing. All right, so here we go. While Patrick's looking that up, we're going to go ahead and start heating up some oil, guys. What we're going to do first is we're going to fry our pickles and our onions. That way we can get them nice and crispy, in addition to let them rest and have that oil drip off. You're going to need a small pan with about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of oil. And I'm just going to keep going here. While I do, we're going to use a seasoned flour, which consists of 4-to-1 AP flour, all-purpose, which is a mixture of cake and high gluten, to 1 cup of Voodoo Chef dust. And that gives us our seasoned flour. Now, if that's too much work for you, we do have a brand new product coming out called Fried. And Fried is meant for just that. So I've got test batch 3.682. I made that shit up. I got test batch number 3 here that we're going to use tonight, but this is what your seasoned flour looks like before you mix it up. That right there is nothing but a 4-to-1 AP flour to dust. We keep that in our house all the time, but for tonight, we're going to use Fried. And I'm just going to sprinkle some of the Fried right inside another 5-pound boat. And I actually have 2 here. So I've got one for my product and one for my cooked product. We got to take care of the important stuff. All right, your oil's getting hot. You want to get this to about 350. If you have a thermometer, perfect. If you don't, little drop of flour, watch how it reacts. Take a chopstick, put it to the bottom of your pan. You'll see bubbles come out of the bottom. Caveman style. Okay? Just being real. Now, I've got my shredded onions here. I ran these on a mandolin. And you want to do them in advance and let them set so that they sweat. I also have some wedges. These are not Fat Boy wedges. These are store-bought dill classics. We're going to use the dill classics. That's what we wrote this recipe with. And it's real simple, guys. Take them. I hate being sticky, sorry. We're going to dredge them in our flour, which just means we're going to fully coat them. And in our flour today, this is the fried. So this has other stuff in it than just the seasonings. And we're just going to fully coat this. And because it came out of that pickle brine, we don't really need to do much more than what we're doing right here. And these are getting a nice coat on them. Real simple. Same thing with our onions. These onions have set, and they're actually better if you cut them and let them rest overnight. If you let them set overnight, they're going to weep. They're going to sit in the cooler, and just like they make us cry, they're going to do nothing but cry all night. And that will allow this fried mix to stick and hold on. Now, I've got these nice and coated up. I'm telling you, there's a storm coming, dude. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming. Real easy way to test your oil. Drop in one onion. Look at the reaction I'm getting, how it went straight to that fry. We're good to go. Now, I'm going to pull this out and I'm just going to drop it in my basket over there because that's where I'm going to take all my onions once they're done. I'm going to shake off the extra fried seasoning and I'm going to drop these in. Uh-oh. If you're watching, I'd love to know what I did wrong here. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. We should drop them all in at the same time so that they all cook at the same time. I'm kind of cheating here, and I'm going to manipulate my onions so that we maximize our cook. But ideally, everything at the same time. And then, oh my God, dude, this is better than tobacco onion. Look at these things. So because we use the fried instead of the straight seasoned flour, the fried has some drying properties in there which actually help us get rid of some of that moisture. Going to create a crisper product. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about these. We call these tobacco onions. And I ain't going to lie, I think it's just because the way they look like tobacco when they're stacked up back in the day and the color. We're going to get rid of this grease, drop them in our drying pan right there, and then make sure we get this oil clean. Now, Jen, I know you're cooking along tonight, and I see you have your chopstick. Have you fried your onions yet? All right, I'm cleaning up the oil. And the beauty of induction cooktops over the fire, with the fire, we run a much higher risk of flame right there. We're going to get this back up to temp, and we're going to do our pickles. Here we go. Cleaning as we go, getting rid of stuff we don't need. Homies, I gotta tell you, I'm excited. I did mine in smaller batch, but I've got about half my onions fried. All right, if anybody else is cooking out there, let us know. I know we've got, I believe we have my man Dave Thomas out there tonight. Dave, how you doing? Dave got to see the sneak preview of episode 2, cut 3 of Voodoo Underground tonight, and I'm super stoked. Guys, with the pickle, just so you know, because of the moisture content, you got to be extra careful with this. It's like throwing water directly in that fryer. Be careful you don't get splattered upon, because that could happen, and that would be no bueno. But we do want to make sure we get these nice and golden brown, just like those onions. So it's going to take a little while. And if you're looking at the oil and watching it turn brown, that's from that flour that we're using as a coating. Just to give you an idea, most people know what a blooming onion is. If you go to Outback, every 5 blooming onions, they filter the oil. Think about that, and think about how many onions they sell and how much work goes into selling those 5 blooms. But take a look at this pickle. Take a look at this pickle. I don't know if you could tell the golden brown on that and the color on that. And I mean, if you're looking at this live, the crispiness of that, because of that fried batter, is just off the chart. And I'm super excited to cut into that. We haven't done fried pickles yet, and I'm stoked. All right, so time to get a turnover going here. Jen, we're gonna let you catch up. I'm gonna set these right here. I gotta taste these, man. Oh man. You know, with that fried batter, we get the same flavoring that we would if we were doing a tobacco onion, right? And again, tobacco onion, we're just using the seasoned flour. But what we're getting that we don't get with the tobacco onion is we're getting an extra crispiness. I gotta tell you, for batch 3.678, I think we may have hit the home run. I think this might be the final batch. And you know what? Patrick, can I ask a favor of you?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Anybody out there watching tonight, if you put, now this is a private group, guys. Nobody can see this unless they're in our private Voodies Facebook group. But I believe everybody watching tonight has my personal cell phone number. But I think we also know I won't remember in the morning. Patrick will. If you text me your direct address, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to send you some fried. We're going to send you some of the brand new product, not even out yet, and you guys can taste it first. We've done some really cool stuff with it. We have, if you take it and you mix it with hot sauce and make a batter out of it, you can batter fried chicken and you get an amazing buffalo chicken tender or nugget, whichever route you're going. We may or may not have done it with lobster claws, Just saying, it doesn't suck sometimes to be in the test kitchen. Um, if you mix it with beer, you got your beer batter. And if you mix it with bubble water or still water, you got quasi tempura batter. Tempura batter doesn't usually have the flavoring that this has. It's usually more bland, but it does the trick. We've made fish and chips. We've done a lot with it. So if you PM me, direct message me, there's 3 people watching live. It's all it's eligible for. If you're watching this in Patreon or the group after the live, don't text us. You got to send it right now. They'll be time stamped, and we'll send you some fried before it even comes out. You know what? We're gonna give you something a little extra here, maybe.
And Eric, as you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we share the list of current.
I got you
teams
turned
for that.
down, homie. Hold on. Tell me now.
I was going to say, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see the current teams for that.
I had to turn down Wicked. It's really loud over here.
All good.
What'd you say you're doing?
I'm going to share my screen to show everybody the current teams for that.
Oh yeah, dude, you go ahead. I'm looking for the. I want to show you guys the label for fried. And Dave just checked in. Dave, yeah, too easy, man. You would have been getting it anyway. All right, so guess what? We may not be getting this label. So these are the teams for Voodoo Bash already confirmed. Dude, you got Eklund coming in, right? Eklund's coming in from Orlando, and he is a ACF chef, just a rock star, and Dane Brevoort. And just a quick little heads up, and the only reason we're hanging out, I got to let my oil cool down, and we got to let those steaks over there get a little bit more coverage. So Dane and Chef Efland will actually be on Billy Floyd's Friday Night Live. I think it's at 9:05. If you go to Kitchen Killers on Facebook and make sure you throw them a like or a follow, and if you're a Voodie, you know who Billy Floyd is. Billy Floyd is just a rock star. Loves hanging out with us. Loves partying with us. He's played the past 2 years at Gasparilla with us, and just doing amazing things. He, like us, is a supporter of the community and just wants to do amazing things. Dane and Chef Eflin will both be on Billy Floyd this Friday night. And to be honest, I thought about driving over just because it would be a fucking amazing time. But I just can't fit it in. I thought about it long and hard. We also confirmed today Wicked Oak Barbecue. So you guys all know our friends from Wicked Oak, Bubba and Derek. Derek is a trivia participant as much as he can be. And they're just great guys. Derek's my favorite pitmaster in Tampa. So if he's going to be out there throwing burgers, you're not going to go wrong. And then, last year's winner, Sed from Sed's Edibles. Last year's fan favorite, our buddy Mitch. You guys all know Mitch from Robinson High School. Our good pal Carrie from Kicking Caribbean. Chef Flavor driving up from Marathon Key. Cole from Fat Rabbit, East Lake Woodlands Country Club. One of the very first Voodoo crew members, Chef Tim Keelick. And then Voodoo Ambassador, Bearded Monkey Twisted Q, Dave Patterson. And Dane is also a Voodoo Ambassador. So nothing but rock stars coming out to the event. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a great time. All right, Patrick, I'm sending you this label. So hopefully we can... show these guys the label before everybody else. And now we got to get cooking here. I do got to tell you this, guys. It's hot. This has to come off. If I know how, right? Patrick picks on me because this is that double cross back. All right.
Aprons are hard.
You know what? Dude, that's a millennial thing. All right, we're gonna get our rock and roll going, and here we go, guys. Tell you what, we're gonna play the new album one more time, and if it goes all the way through, all right, here we go. Better?
Yeah, much better.
All right, so I'm going to take my tools out, and I've got a double container here. And the reason I got the double container, I want to get rid of my hot oil because I'm cheap. I don't want to, and I'm lazy. I don't want to wash a lot of dishes. I'm going to use the same pan. It's so raining here. Why do I feel like Taylor Swift right now? I'm performing in the rain. All right. Here we go, homies. This quick, you ready? So, I wrote this recipe. I was hired by a restaurant group in Ybor City. And they wanted to break away from the franchise group that they were working with. It doesn't matter who the franchise group was. I'd known the general manager for quite some time. And he's like, you got to come in, you got to help us. I'm like, I got you, my man. I got you. That's what I do. I'm getting my pan on medium heat right here. And I'm just going to drop just a little bit of oil in there. This is a cast iron. Treat it like you would your Blackstone or whatever. We don't need a lot. Watch what I do here. Making sure I get full coat. Cheating a little bit. But that's okay. We cheat in the back of the house all the time. So I'm hired to write these recipes, right? And, real simple. They had a framework of what they wanted to do. And they said, we need to fill in the blanks. We want a signature sandwich. I'm in Ybor City. What the hell am I going to do that's a signature sandwich? And you know what? As I would talk to people, they would be like, do a Cuban. I'm like, are you fucking an idiot? We're in Ybor City. How am I going to compete with the Columbia restaurant across the street? How am I going to compete with one of my favorites, Carmine's? How are we going to compete with Gasper's Grotto? It's not going to happen. So what we had to do was figure out what exactly we could do that would be different. What wouldn't be different would be a Cuban sandwich. We did know it had to be on La Segunda Cuban bread. Now, I've said before, if you're not using La Segunda Cuban bread, you might lose your Tampa card. True statement. But what I will tell you, I'm going to be such an asshole right here. If you're using La Segunda bread and you're buying it frozen, because let's be real, to keep up with the fresh, you got to be like on the ball, right? And you got to have the storage space. We don't always have that. And if you're going to buy frozen, the Eurobake frozen bread is a much more consistent and better product. La Segunda, amazing. Something happens when you freeze it, okay? Eurobake has perfected it. So if I'm using that frozen bread, which sometimes we have to do, I'm going with Eurobake. Tonight, little La Segunda. And of course, Voodoo Chef garlic butter. Here we go. We're just going to get the garlic butter on that bread. because garlic butter is a must, right? We put garlic butter on absolutely everything. Now, a Cuban sandwich, pretty straightforward. There's no way we could do the Cuban sandwich. We would not compete. So I started thinking to myself, what could we do? Jen, I hope you're toasting that Cuban bread. What could we do that would be like baller, that would be in line with the Cuban sandwich, but not be the Cuban sandwich? So I started thinking to myself, what's Ybor known for? What's Ybor known for? Fucking cigars, right? We all know it. We all know it. Not that I smoke cigars. We all know it. Cigars, right? Now, could we do a cigar? Who the fuck's gonna eat a cigar? Answer's nobody. So I'm like, okay, that was a loss. That was a lot of wasted time. And then I started, the cigars wouldn't leave my head. And I started thinking about this history of the cigars. And the way they would talk about the cigar rollers in the factories rolling those cigars, and how the lecterns would read to them. And they would read to them to keep them interested in rolling cigars, because the more interested they were and the more awake they were, the more cigars they would roll. They started giving them espresso from the coffee beans that were roasted right there in Ybor City. Those same coffee beans that we used to make Voodoo Dirt. Pretty simple. Voodoo Dirt is not something new. Voodoo Dirt is an espresso rub that comes from the imagination of cowboys who on the trail would take dried coffee beans and dried meat with them. They would rehydrate the coffee beans and make coffee, and they would rehydrate the jerky or meat and eat it along the trail. You know, at some point that just becomes monotonous and the same thing over and over and over again. So they started getting creative, much like us chefs do. They would find indigenous ingredients along the way, and they took the coffee beans and they would take the water from the roast and they would use it with the meat. And rumor has it, story goes, whichever myth you want to believe, that's actually where chili came from. And it's actually where you got the beginnings of the cowboy steak, the espresso crusted cowboy steak. And just so you know, if you're one of those guys that say espresso, there's no X in that word. Get rid of it. It's an S. All right, we've got our steaks in the pan. Our hot cast iron skillet with a little bit of oil over a medium-high heat. I don't know about you. I want my steak at medium rare. You know what? When you're out in industry, people are going to order this how they want. And when we're talking about ordering it how we want, that's kind of tough, because in Ybor City, our goal was to make this the signature sandwich and to have it run up and down the block. And we decided we were going to aim for medium. So when we talk about that, as I'm working as I talk to you guys, I'm such an asshole. What we want to look for here is you're going to look for the brown to come up from around the sides. And if you look, you can see that brown starting to creep up a little bit. But the real tell, when we're getting to that point where we got to worry, is when the moisture starts pushing up through the steak. Now, on a hamburger, ground beef, a lot easier to see that. On a steak with that tighter muscle not ground down, it's a little more difficult to see. So what I'm looking for here is, Patrick, can you turn the names off so you don't see Voodoo Chef? Or actually, you might be able to see it in, I don't know what camera this is. Right here, we see a little bit of blood coming up. And if you look right here, you can see the same. So as you look right here, you can see a little bit of blood coming up. That tells us that the meat is now pushing the moisture out this way. And that tells us we're real close to that medium. Look at that steak. Nice hard sear. That espresso rub, the sugar's caramelizing down. And we're just going to flip that. And guys, that was like 3 to 5 minutes. So as we're looking at that, now we got to start thinking, where am I going? What am I doing? How are we going to get to this end point? I told you, this is going to happen quick. Jen, I hope you're out there. I hope you're doing what you're doing, because we're doing all of this on a medium heat in that fully heated cast iron skillet. If you remember, I kept talking, and you guys were probably out there going, dude, shut up. I was letting my pan get hot. That's what we got to do. Now, we're looking for the same thing. We're looking for the moisture to come up through the bottom. We're looking for that side of the steak to cook up through. And I'm going to tell you, it's time to let that steak rest. I'm going to swap pans here, and I'm going to take my bread and put it over here so that I have a clean pan to put my steak on, and I am already going to let my steak rest. Because of residual heat and residual cooking, that steak is going to continue to cook. Now, I want you to think of this. Every time you would go to a party as a high schooler, or not, you know, you're all amped up, right? You're hyped up. And you'd get back home, and your mom would go, how was the night? And you'd go, it was good, and you'd go up to your room, and you're still hyped up. Same thing with our steak. We put all this heat on here, all the party. Everything in there is going nuts. If we were to cut that open right now, it's just going to jump out and think the party's still going on. We need to let that set and let it rest so it can get a good night's sleep in our belly. While this is still hot, though, and with all that seasoning of that dirt, I want to warm up my tomatoes. So I'm going to take my pre-sliced tomatoes and drop them right in on that pan where those steaks were. It's warm tomatoes, guys. Warm. We're not going nuts on these things. Get them warm in that flavor from the steak, and then pull it right back off. We don't want these weeping. We don't want them wilted. I want the texture of that tomato. The first time I had a Cuban sandwich, it had lettuce and tomato on there. I don't care what your thoughts are. It blew my mind. Okay? So when I created this, that's what I had in mind. I got my steak resting. I got my onions and pickles. I've got my tomatoes. I got my warm tomatoes. I'm missing one thing. I'm missing that lettuce. All right, I'm missing two things. We're going to get the pan back hot for lettuce, and I'm going to start with clean oil. All right? I'm going to let my oil get hot. While my oil gets hot, I went ahead and I got ready here with my mayo mustard. Your recipe says mayonnaise and Southern Gold. When COVID hit, we had to get rid of Southern Gold. Had nothing to do with anything other. That's a pretty cool shot, but let's go like that. We didn't have to get rid of Southern Gold, but because of supply chain, we had a hard time getting bottles. So we went back to mayo mustard, the traditional Tampa sauce that you get on every Cuban sandwich in town. We go ahead and we mix this up in advance. If you saw our video with Jose Palau, you know Jose likes to do them separately. He says it just hits a little different. And that's a true statement. It does. It does. But for easeability and actually the look, I love that color. That color is what made that color associates Cuban sandwich to me as much as anything else. So because of that, I like to mix mine in advance. And if you see me looking around, I'm scouring my table for my dust, which I left in the house, because I season everything along the way. This sauce would also get voodoo dust, and on a larger scale, it would get a little bit of mojo to bring that mojo flavor that we're looking for. My oil's hot. Here we go, guys. We're not using lettuce. We're using arugula. Your recipe calls for 1/8 of an ounce. I brought out 1 ounce just so you could see what it looks like. This is a 5-pound boat. We serve a full-size hamburger in this. Right in the oil. Grab my tongs, and we're just going to wilt this lettuce, and you're going to see how it cooks down and how quick. We're going to take this to bright green and stop. We're done. We're done. Now, in industry, when we order this, here's what it's going to look like. You call me, you order the sandwich. I say, good, we're ready to go. You're like, dude, what are you doing with the cigar box? Well, we were calling this the Ybor strip. And if you remember what we associate with Ybor City, that's cigars. So this sandwich would be delivered to you open face with your mayo mustard. I gotta tell you, this new Wicked album is insane. Funny story, I told Patrick, this is my favorite song off the album. I told Patrick, I said, we got Wicked. And he thought I was talking about the band Wicked. And I'm like, dude, are you not excited? He goes, dude, you talk about these guys every day. And I'm like, no, not the band, Wicked Oak Barbecue. And he's like, oh. Our other instructor comes in, I'm like, telling the story, and he goes, oh, I thought you were talking about the band too. I'm like, fuck you both. All right, here we go. All right, so if you were ordering this at the restaurant, you would get your Tampa sauce on the bottom. And I don't know if you noticed, I go heavy. We would take that steak, set it right on top, and give it a little push. I want that Tampa sauce to bleed. Never see you again. All right, guys. I hope you're playing along. Lost in the dark. Look at that bad boy right there. Now, you know, a sandwich isn't complete, right? You got to have a side on this thing. And I don't know about you guys. The only real side to put with a Tampa sandwich is tostones. Now, we bought tostones. Tostones are simple, they're easy, and we could teach you how to make those just the same. That's our Ybor strip. That is an open face New York strip sandwich served right inside the cigar box that we would run up and down the strip to whoever wanted it. But I gotta tell you, as I'm doing this and I'm thinking tonight and I'm at the market, I'm thinking to myself, if I were doing this today, I might do it a little different. I might put that bread right there, and because we're missing something from that Cuban sandwich, I might take a little Gruyere and layer the Gruyere right down that bread. Now, I don't know if you knew this, I love cheese. And that Swiss cheese is such an integral part of that Cuban sandwich. And we got to get that same melt, that same toast on that Gruyere. You like that? This is live TV, folks. Oh shit, that's bad. That's gonna like really. I almost grabbed the bourbon and put on there. I wish you guys could see Patrick right now laughing his ass off in the background. All right, so we're going to get a nice toast on that, yeah? Now, what I want to do is I want to elevate this. So let me move this just for a second. If we take this steak and we take it and we make some nice little cuts here, using our Voodoo Chef 13 blade, of course. Look at the cook on this. Can you see that? Oh my God, oh, you want to see it? I am so super excited. Patrick and I are laughing at each other. All right, so we got our cut New York strip. And all I'm doing with this, if you're watching at home, I'm taking one New York strip and I'm turning it into 2 sandwiches. Because I'm going to layer this out along this meat. And by opening it up and doing a little fan here, I only used half the steak. I'm still going to use my 3 tomatoes, because let's be real, what does a tomato cost me? I used 1 whole tomato on this entire dish tonight. Same with the arugula. Oh wait, let's do our sauce first. We're going to put that Tampa sauce right down this tomato. Oh my God. I'm so stoked. That lovely green. And we can't forget our onions and our pickle. Look at that thing right there, homies. Time.